Hey, welcome to Sipper Social Club. I'm Jeremy. Today I have the brand new 2019 Laphroaig Cairdeas. It is a cask strength version of their triple wood whiskey. Laphroaig suggests that you drink this in a very unique way that I've never seen before. I'll let you know what that is when I nose it, taste it, and give it a mark. Alright, triple wood, it spends its first maturation in ex-bourbon barrels. That's transferred into smaller quarter casks, then that's transferred into Oloroso sherry butts. Palate cask strength, 59.5% ABV. Let's see how it is on the nose. So big hit of classic Laphroaig style medicinal peat on this one. You get like that asphalt, rubber, the tardiness that comes out of that. Really prominent on the nose. Really cranked up for sure. Behind all that, a little bit of sweeter notes, some vanilla, maybe a little bit of citrus in here, maybe like some orange peel. And you get some like creamy Kyle style oakiness to this. Pretty nice nose. Definitely Laphroaig character for sure. And yeah, it's definitely in your face. Let's go palate. Big, bold arrival. Lots of spice, pepper. Really hits you with that combo of that peat. You get all that medicinal style peat again. That really like tardiness to it. Then a little bit of sweet notes. You get vanilla, maybe a little bit of like icing sugar to go along with that. A little bit of baked goods on the end as well, like sugar cookies, gingerbread cookie kind of style. Pretty pleasant. Finish, I'd say medium to medium long. Hickory wood really envelops the finish on this one. Lots of hickory notes. Pretty decent. The oakiness, that hickory, pretty creamy. Not as drying as you may think. It's pretty good. I do quite enjoy that. This is like stereotypical Laphroaig. It really packs that heavy punch, that tarry peat. If you like the 10-year-old, you like the quarter cask, it's got that same amount of intensity in this one for sure. Nice whiskey. Score-wise for me on this one, I'm going to go 85 out of 100. For value, this one was $150 Canadian. For that price, I think it's a little expensive, I'd say. I'm going to drop it down a mark, bring it to 84 out of 100. Now, I mentioned earlier that Laphroaig suggested a really unique way of drinking this whiskey. Right here on the back of the box, or the tin I should say, it says, "We recommend that you add twice as much water as whiskey to fully appreciate the characteristics of whiskey at cask strength." Now, I've never heard any distillery say that on any of their boxes or any of their marketing advertising. So here it is. So added half an ounce of whiskey, 1 full ounce of water. Now I've seen whiskeys say, add a drop of water to bring out some flavors, add a splash of water, but to put in twice as much water as whiskey, let's see how this is. So really a lot of that intensity is completely down. More oakiness is coming through, and just more of that straight medicinal, that's it. The asphalt, the rubber that accompanied that, a little bit in the background, this is just pure medicine, like almost like Band-Aids. You get that Band-Aid note. You really got to dig and see if you can find that vanilla, but it's almost gone. It seems like it just overwatered it, in my opinion. Let's go palate. I've never had a whiskey this watered down before. It's vanishing, in my opinion. I could see someone who has never tried Laphroaig before, and you pour a bunch of water in, and it does just take it right down. But it doesn't make it more enjoyable, in my opinion. It kind of just brings out those notes that you might find a little icky if they're not accompanied by the rest of the whiskey. So for me, this is just pure Band-Aids. It's that medicinal note is coming through, and more oakiness is coming through, and it really kind of disappears the rest of it. Those sweeter notes, the icing sugar is gone, the baked good note is gone, that hickory note, maybe a little bit still there, more just like oakiness, but it's not that nice, creamy, full-bodied mouthfeel that the one without water had. So yeah, not a fan of that. It's really interesting that they would suggest that. I don't know why. I think their whiskey neat is fine. With a few drops of water when I was prepping for this, a little bit more oakiness, but then water did bring out that those sweet notes. It brought the sweet notes down a bit, so I liked it without the water. So there it is, 84 out of 100 with the 1- for value. How does this compare with the original triple wood? Let's find out. All right, original triple wood. This one's balled at 48% ABV, so about, what's that, 10.5 points less than the cask strength, 11.5. On the nose, pretty similar, I'd say. You get all that medicinal style, the peat, the rubber, the asphalt, the Band-Aid kind of note. Pick up some sherry notes in here. Sherry notes stick out even a little bit more for me on this one for some reason. That oak is there. But yeah, I'd say thinner on the nose, whereas the Cairdeas was a little more creamy, kind of in your face on the nose. This one's a little thinner. Let's go palate. So not as much as that peat kick on the palate, not as spicy. You do get some oak, a little sherry influence and some vanilla, and then the finish, a little bit of chocolate in there, which is kind of interesting. But then the oak on the finish dries out for me, almost like kind of like it turns bitter and then dries. Not the biggest fan of that note. Don't like that dry, bitter oak finish on whiskeys. This one has it, in my opinion. And yeah, it kind of just flattens out. Kind of red lines on the finish for me. Score-wise for this on this one, I'm going to go 80 out of 100, and this one cost $90. I think that's just a little bit too much from what I would pay for a whiskey. Then I'm going to score an 80. So I'm going to take off a point for that, bring it down to 79 out of 100. What's the main difference between the Cairdeas and the regular release? Let's find out. So the Cairdeas wins for me. It's better in every aspect, in my opinion. The nose, the palate, the finish, more creaminess, more viscosity, more rich kind of notes. The main difference between these two is the oak. For me, the regular release, triple wood, the oak on that finish kind of flattens out, kind of turns to bitter and then dries, whereas with the Cairdeas, stays with good viscosity, doesn't turn to that bitter note, goes more kind of like a hickory style wood. So that's what I like more about the Cairdeas, and I think that's the main difference that I picked up between these two whiskeys. One other interesting thing to point out, if you look at the tins and you look at the regular release triple wood, it says that the final maturation is in European oak, and if you look at the Cairdeas, it says the third maturation is in Oloroso sherry casks. So in my opinion, maybe what they've done here is they've sourced different sherry casks for the Cairdeas, because they're specifying specifically Oloroso, and here they're just saying Spanish oak. Could be a combination of a couple different Spanish oaks, could be Oloroso MPX, doesn't really disclose, but this one, perhaps they've gone out and they've sourced some nicer sherry casks to do the final maturation for this release, and for me, it definitely made the difference, perhaps. Even though the sherry notes are kind of in the background as far as like where those medicinal notes come in, that oak influence could very well be doing that last maturation with the sherry, could bring in those different oak notes, and I definitely prefer the ones on the Cairdeas. So there you have it. If you're a fan of the triple wood, definitely buy the Cairdeas. You'll love it for sure. If you're a Laphroaig fan, this is stereotypical Laphroaig house style, that big, bold medicinal notes. If you like those, you'll like this. If you're not a big fan of either of those aspects about Laphroaig, I would probably steer clear of this release. Yes, it's good whiskey. Is it great? Nah. it's pretty average, I'd say. These Laphroaig Cairdeas releases have been a little subpar in my experience the last couple years. There's been some okay ones. Wasn't really a big fan of the Cask Strength quarter cask. The Pheno was pretty decent, but again, you're paying a lot of money for just, you know, that whiskey that's just there. I think for the price, it's just there. It's not something that's good value in my opinion. So you have it. Let me know what you think. Laphroaig Cairdeas, have you tried the new release? What's your favorite Cairdeas release that you've had so far? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of the Triple Wood? Have you tried this one? Your thoughts on it versus the rest of the core range Laphroaigs? As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you want to comment, subscribe, hit the like button. Always much appreciated. Thanks a lot. Cheers.